All right, I've got to be honest up top here and say that I've got a little bias on this one. My wife says that my spirit animal is a cat. Not sure why she says that. Also, I've literally played the saxophone. There's usually a picture of it hanging up in my studio. So cat and blues apparently embodies me. Oh yeah, and Bitewing sent me the game too. Apparently that's something that happens now. When I originally asked for Cat Blues, I expected something small and simple and pretty easy to teach. Something where you could just sit down with your family and have a chill time with. Nope. Cat Blues is one of the most unique, tense, and hilarious card games that I've had the pleasure of stumbling into. And it's way more spicy than I originally thought. How you play is pretty easy to figure out. How you should play is where it gets a little more interesting. But let's start with the former. You'll start out with a hand of 6 cards. You'll use those to bid on an auction of cards flopped in the center of the table. These are drawn randomly, stopping when there's a matching number or when a joker pops out. So the actual size of what you're bidding for can vary greatly from auction to auction. How you bid is with matching numbers or different numbers. More cards beats fewer, and higher numbers wins ties. If you win an auction, you can then make quartets to gain a matching quartet token. We'll talk about those later. And mouse tips, equal to the number on the cards. Yes, we're in a world of cats, and the currency is mice. Don't think about it too much. A round ends when the tips or deck runs out. After 3 rounds, whoever has the most mouse tips wins. Now, because what you're trying to meld is also the same thing that you're trying to bid with, cards, this makes for a really interesting little puzzle. However, I want to tell you a secret. Come here. This game was designed by Dr. Reiner Knizia, a fellow bow tie enthusiast, which means there's a lot more we gotta dig into here. One of my favorite things in games is consequences. And boy, does this game have a few. The easiest one to spot is jokers. Jokers are wilds. You can use them in bids or melds. But the cost is that you keep every joker face up in front of you. Whoever ends the round with the most jokers, including the ones still in your hand, loses 5 mouse tips. Ouch. The only safe escape? Meld 4 jokers for 0 points, but you'll get a joker quartet token. We're still gonna talk about those later, stop asking. So, do you risk using jokers, or hoard them to purge them later? Either way, you might lose big. And boy, do I love how spicy that is. Now, the next consequence is one that might make you bounce off this game. Let's say you win an auction, make a quartet, but suddenly, you've got no cards left. No worries, the game lets you draw back up to 4. But your neighbor's still sitting on 8. And in a game where more cards wins, you might realize you're on the back foot here. Now don't worry, this is only temporary. You can pounce on small auctions, others will inevitably meld too, and when a joker pops out, everyone draws a card, giving small hands more flexibility. But you still might be out of the running for a bit. This usually catches new players off guard. So I always make it a point to let them know, so it becomes a choice that they are making instead of an accident they fall into. Now, I love these consequences because they add weight to your decisions. But my favorite part of this game is discovered when somebody realizes, if a small hand is precarious, can you lean the other way? To which the game's response is, there is no hand limit. Then you might ask, can I meld as many quartets as I want when I win an auction? To which the game's answer is, yes. So does that mean the best hoarder wins then? Not quite. See, there's only 20 mouse tips each round. Wait too long, and someone else might swoop in and snatch a majority of your points first. Like a skeeving thief. All this to say that this game isn't really about auctions and melding quartets. What it's really about, what makes it so spicy for me, is that you're really just straight up playing chicken with your friends. Who's gonna take the plunge and dump all the cards first? Will it actually be worth it? Hopefully not too early so as to handicap yourself, but also not too late when there's no points left to grab. And that dance of working to gain that power and then choosing when to lose it all. Oh, it's just so fun. It's what makes me love this game. But let me give you an example. Imagine you've got a sizable hand, and you're one away from melding 2 quartets. The flop looks good, but your opponent starts out with a bid of 5s. What are they doing? And it's up to 4, then 5 different cards. No way you can spend that many jokers to get away with it. You pass. Your friend melds his entire hand. The mouse tips are gone, which means the round is over. You've got the most jokers. You scream at the ceiling, should have went for it! Everyone has a laugh at your expense. Priceless. And although that is my favorite part, we're not even done yet. There's one more thing where this game gets wrapped up in a little bow. Tie. Bow ties are cool. Let's finally talk about those quartet tokens. To put it simply, the player or players with the most quartet tokens at the end of all 3 rounds, aka the whole game, gets a big tip worth 10 points. 10! This not only causes you to manage which quartets you're trying to meld, but also to pay attention to what your opponents are melding. Which leads to my favorite thing in any auction game, using your bid to try and sabotage others. You're gonna up the price. You're gonna win things you don't need. Why? Just because someone else really needed it. And that's just... wow. What a card game. I remember personally spending 5 wands, a ridiculous amount of bidding power, to try and stop someone from getting a Joker quartet, only for the next 2 auctions to immediately pop out 2 Jokers. I had wasted all my bidding power for absolutely nothing. Hilarious. But let's put a pause on my praise and talk about some potential negatives. First is, as I said earlier, you need to warn players that having less cards will make it harder for them to bid. It's a small effort on your part, but I think the payoff is worth it. Next, even though the game really does feel like a classic card game that never existed, like a trick taker or a climbing cheddar, but using auctions instead of tricks, it takes a little bit to get used to how the flow works before it starts going down smoothly. And if you don't get past that, then it might just feel a little weird. It's also not that short of a card game. It's not ridiculously long, but it's not 20 minutes either. There is a 1-round option in the rules, but I'd personally play a different game before that. It cuts out all the big tips and kind of the climactic ending. And finally, I don't know if you can tell, this game is not going to be a game that you want to bring to grandma's house. Not only can it be self-punishing, but to play it at its highest levels, you need players who are willing to sabotage each other. For my kind of gamer, this almost comes second nature. For everyone else, it's maybe a little too nuanced and just a little too mean. Now, these are all little caveats that have frankly done nothing to impede me from loving the dickens out of this game. But there is one little negative that I have. After finding out that I like a small game, and finding out the price is acceptable, the next thing I am interested in is how portable it is. And for a company that just launched a really cool travel line of small games that are very portable with cool packaging, this box is not travel friendly. Not only is it a magnetically closed lid, which can just pop open, but the unnecessary insert leads to a box that is filled with air. The game could have fit in a box this size, or this. Now, it's not a huge deal, and it is a nice box, but I travel all over the world, and as soon as I want to take more than one Bitewing card game, it starts to become an issue.
You need to leave!
P.S. Gussie Grills is a great replacement for Pit, by the way. You should check it out. Anyway, enough about nitpicking. I want to be very clear. This game slapped me in the face, in the best way possible. It was definitely not what I was expecting, a light, casual card game, and instead like 10 layers of hand management. You're constantly juggling not only what you're bidding for, and with what, but when. Also, how to use or lose jokers. Also, how to get the right quartet tokens. And how to stop others from getting the quartet tokens they need. And all of this is happening at the same time. And it's just so fun. Frankly, this has not only become one of my favorite auction games ever, but just straight up one of my favorite card games. It just feels so different from anything else out there. So, I'd highly recommend giving it a go. Now, I've seen some reviewers have a hard time with it, but I don't know. Everything that must make it not for them really makes it for me. Anyway, that's Cat Blues. If you've tried it, drop your thoughts below. Or come have long discussions about how I'm wrong in the Discord. Anyway, it's time to pack up the brass. Thanks for watching. Laissez le bon temps rouler. It's French. Bye.